This week we've been working with a group of leaders in the environment of what is often termed a leadership retreat, although we prefer to identify it as a leadership advance. We can talk about leadership retreats and advances some other time, but it's always intrigued me about what situations leaders might be retreating from. Anyway, one of the initial processes we used in this leadership advance was the Human Leader Amplifier. And as we worked with the responses to those leader amplifiers, another intriguing question emerged. That question was, why do we need leaders? It is an intriguing question, and like most intriguing questions, there's no one correct answer. Only a complex coalescence of perspectives and stories. The initial responses, bearing in mind that they were emerging from a group of senior leaders who were suddenly plunged into seeming existential crisis, were responses like, without leaders there would be chaos. No one would know what to do. If there weren't any leaders, there would just be anarchy. Other leaders thought that without their leadership skills, everyone would end up working on collective farms, or trying to meet the level of book production specified in the 5-year plan, or forming hippie communes. From the leadership psychology perspective, it was interesting that nearly all the leaders held the question as a binary choice that suggested there was no need for leaders, rather than initially beginning to explore why we need leaders. We then returned to the Human Leader Amplifiers and asked, what do leaders do? And to expand a bit more on that question, what is it that leaders do that make them such a valuable and scarce resource? As we opened up and explored that question, the answers that emerged had a lot to do with structure, compliance, and that someone had to be in charge. That's often the traditional view of leadership, and indeed a number of the senior leaders had identified themselves as traditional leaders when using the human leader space. But then what emerged from the younger leaders, and particularly the women leaders who were present, was that we need leaders for guidance, for support, and for inspiration. Compliance and authority were considered to be the function of an administrator or some back office system, whereas a leader guiding, supporting and inspiring is the person who steps into uncertainty and invites others into opportunity. People are inspired to follow leaders into uncertainty because the leader can make sense of uncertainty and make the space a bit more certain for the people who follow their lead. As the neuroscientist Bo Lotto describes, one of the biggest challenges we encounter at both an individual and organisational level is encountering uncertainty and then navigating it.
Every behaviour that we do to reduce uncertainty. We do to increase certainty.
Examples of that uncertainty can be leadership challenges, like negotiating a complex business deal, or resolving personal tensions within a high-performance team. But most often it is to make sense of the uncertainty of the future. That's what we moved on to next, the capacity for a leader to see into possible futures, into adjacent futures, into chosen futures, and to articulate that leadership vision. So why do you think we need leaders? Is it for that control and compliance to make sense of situations by structuring a rigid order? Or is it to support us, to guide us and inspire us as the leaders step into uncertainty, invite us into opportunity by making the future a bit more certain for the people who are being guided, supported and inspired by them? What do you think? Why do we need leaders?